He sits in the back of the classroom. He scores exactly 50 on every exam. He says almost nothing. And by the end of the series, he has destroyed everyone who underestimated him. This isn't another anime breakdown. This isn't another cringe motivational video pretending to teach you how to be like your favorite character. This is something different. Because Ayanokoji Kiyotaka isn't just a character, he's a mirror. And what he reflects back is something most of us are too afraid to look at directly. The truth about how the world actually works. For those who don't know him, Ayanokoji is the protagonist of Classroom of the Elite. On paper, he's average, forgettable, the kind of person you'd walk past 100 times and never notice. But underneath that, he's arguably the most calculating mind in modern anime. He moves through life like a chess player playing against children. He sees moves no one else sees. He understands people in a way that feels almost inhuman. And here's the question that should bother you. Why does he resonate so deeply with so many of us? Carl Jung wrote about something he called the shadow. The parts of ourselves we hide, the desires, the intelligence, the darker capabilities we've been taught not to express. Most people spend their whole lives running from their shadow. Ayanokoji is what happens when someone integrates it completely. That's why he feels so powerful. Not because he's evil, but because he's whole. Let's talk about how he actually operates. The first thing you need to understand about Ayanokoji is that he makes himself invisible on purpose. He scores exactly 50 points on every exam. He avoids attention. He lets others take credit. To most people watching, this looks like weakness. It's the opposite. It's strategy. There's a reason for this. People only counter threats they can see. If nobody perceives you as dangerous, nobody prepares for you. Nobody studies your moves. Nobody even thinks about you. You operate in a blind spot the rest of the world doesn't even know exists. Schopenhauer wrote, "The talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see." Ayanokoji has taken that one step further. He hits targets no one even knew were there. And here's what this means for you. Stop announcing every goal you have. Stop showing people everything you're capable of. Stop performing your ambition for an audience that will only use it against you. Let people underestimate you. That underestimation is currency. Spend it carefully. Spend it when it matters. The loudest person in the room is almost never the most dangerous. The most dangerous person in the room is the one nobody is watching. Now let's talk about emotion. When everyone around Ayanokoji is panicking, angry, or breaking down, he's observing. And this isn't because he doesn't feel things. This is because he understands something most people never learn. Emotions are information, not instructions. Most people experience an emotion and immediately act on it. Fear makes them retreat. Anger makes them lash out. Embarrassment makes them shut down completely. They become slaves to their nervous system without ever questioning who's actually in charge. Ayanokoji feels the same things. He just refuses to be ruled by them. There's a quote from Viktor Frankl that explains this perfectly. He was a Holocaust survivor, a psychiatrist, and one of the most clear-eyed thinkers of the 20th century. He said this, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space, that's everything. Most people don't even know it exists. They live their entire lives reacting. Ayanokoji lives in that space. He's built his entire identity around it. Here's how you start practicing this. The next time someone says something that makes your chest tighten, pause. Before you respond, just observe. Notice the heat in your face. Notice the urge to defend yourself. Notice the script your mind is already writing. And then ask yourself one question. What is this emotion actually telling me? And what response would actually serve me right now? Even a few seconds of that pause changes everything. That pause is where your power lives. That pause is the difference between someone who's controlled by life and someone who quietly controls their own. Now we get to the part most people miss. Ayanokoji doesn't just understand what people say, he understands what they actually want underneath what they say. Every person you meet is operating from a core set of needs: belonging, status, validation, safety, control. Most social interactions are just people trying to get those needs met, usually without even realizing it themselves. They don't know what they want. They just know they want something. Ayanokoji reads that something almost instantly. In one of the most chilling moments of the series, he engineers an entire situation by recognizing that one specific person needed to feel respected above everything else. He didn't manipulate them with lies. He didn't threaten them. He just gave them what they actually needed and let them do the rest. That's not manipulation. That's something deeper. That's understanding. Plato wrote about something he called the cave. He described prisoners who'd lived their whole lives chained in a cave, watching shadows on the wall, mistaking those shadows for reality. Most people are still in that cave. They see the surface of human behavior and they think that's what's actually happening. They miss the entire mechanism underneath. When you start seeing the need behind the behavior, you stop reacting to the surface. The friend who always needs to be right is not arrogant. They're insecure. The person arguing with you is rarely angry about what they say they're angry about. The co-worker who undermines you is not your enemy. They're afraid. Once you see this clearly, you can never go back to the way you saw people before. It changes everything. But here's the warning. This kind of clarity comes with a weight. When you start seeing what people actually need, you also start seeing how rarely they get it. You start seeing how lonely most people are underneath their performance. You start seeing how much pain hides behind every casual conversation. That's the cost of waking up. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now the last principle, the one that separates Ayanokoji from everyone else. He plays the long game. Most people optimize for how things look right now. Right now matters more to them than anything else. They want to be right in this argument. They want to win this moment. They want to be admired today. They sacrifice years of progress for the dopamine hit of immediate validation. Ayanokoji thinks in moves, 3 moves ahead, 5 moves ahead, sometimes 10. He'll deliberately lose a small battle to win a larger war. He'll let someone think they outsmarted him because that belief makes them predictable, and predictable people are useful. This is delayed gratification applied to social strategy, and it is rare beyond belief. In your own life, this looks like not correcting someone in a group setting just because you're right. The short-term satisfaction of being right is almost never worth the long-term social cost. It looks like investing months into a skill quietly before anyone knows you're doing it. It looks like staying composed when someone is trying to provoke you because your reputation for composure compounds over years. Every time you choose the long game over the short game, You're building something that compounds. Most people will never understand this because they're too addicted to the immediate. You don't have to be. So here's what I want to leave you with. Ayanokoji is fictional. He's an extreme. He's exaggerated for narrative purposes, and you're never going to literally become him. That's not the point. The point is, the principles underneath him are real. Strategic patience, emotional regulation, understanding what people actually need, long-term thinking. These aren't manipulation tactics. They're a deeper level of awareness than most people will ever develop. The world doesn't reward depth. It rewards noise. It rewards performance. It rewards the people who can make the most amount of people feel the least amount of discomfort. That's the game most people are playing. You don't have to play that game. You can choose the quieter path, the deeper path, the path of someone who sees clearly and refuses to react impulsively, someone who understands themselves and others well enough to move through life with intention instead of reaction. That's what total control actually means. Not control over other people, control over yourself, the kind of control that makes everything else possible. If this resonated with you, subscribe. We're just getting started.